Hey there, crafty cuties. Today I wanted to do a video using these Artist Loft watercolor markers. This was requested of me. Someone had bought these after I mentioned them, and she could not get them to work for her. So I just wanted to show you how I use them, and I will be making a birthday card for my grandma today. So to start off, I like to use a mixed media paper for this. I have tried using these with watercolor paper and that works okay too, but I really feel like this paper right here works the best and it's not too expensive. Today I am going to be using the Archival ink by Ranger. I did use blue and black. And this is a really good ink if you're doing watercolor just because it is a waterproof ink and it will dye the paper. Now you do want to keep in mind that this is probably going to stain your stamps. And then I am going to just be using a variety of things. I've already stamped my images on a separate paper and I am letting this dry for about 30 minutes before I go in with the markers. And I also will be using an additional mat here that is 4.5 by 6.5 inches to fit on our card right here. That the front measures 5 inches by 7 inches, so this is just a little bit smaller. And I was trying to stray away from using my distress inks because I've already used them so many times in videos, but I can't help it, you guys. They're so great for backgrounds, so you probably will be seeing me use these for my background. Other than that, I'll probably be using some glossy accents, maybe a few punches for little hearts that I'm thinking of doing. And I'm just using this teeny tiny detail brush that was really inexpensive. I will be using my acrylic block here, and this was probably what I will be using the markers on. I'm just basically scribbling some marker on, and then I will be using my brush to paint. And I do the same method for the distress inks. I just stamp it on, and then I use it like as if it were a paint. And the stamp sets that I'm using today, I'm using this mini Gorjuss Girl stamp. I do have a video on all of the stamps that I have from this collection. And then I'm just using one of the balloons from the Tim Holtz Mini Bird Crazy and Things stamp set. I can't seem to get away from these two. They're great. So before I start coloring, I just did want to mention that I really like this watercolor marker set. I think it's great for the price and you get a variety of colors, but the one thing it doesn't have, or two things rather, it doesn't have a gray color and it doesn't really have anything that can be used for a skin tone. Otherwise you could maybe mute down like one of there's this color right here mixed with a pink or something. You might be able to mix some colors, but really there's not anything that's good for a skin tone or for shading gray. So I do apologize, but I am going to bring in my Copic skin tone markers for the I'll just use this for the skin, and then I will continue to use the brown that's in here for the hair, just to show you that you can use these watercolor markers for most everything. Well, crafty cuties, I figured there probably wasn't too much to be said while I was coloring, but I did want to pop on here and just say hello and do a quick little voiceover for you. When I am coloring my stamps, I honestly don't really have any rhyme or reason or special order for how I color. I am pretty new to coloring stamps, so I've pretty much just been experimenting and seeing what works for me. I do usually try to start with the skin color just because it's usually the lightest color that I'm doing, and I don't know, for some reason I'm nervous that I'm going to mess it up if I do it last. I don't really, it seems like it would be opposite, but that's just how I do it. And I really like coloring with a brush. I honestly was really scared of that idea at first because it just seemed like it would be super messy and like I wouldn't be able to stay in the lines, but it's a lot easier and I honestly really enjoy it. But you can see here that I definitely go back and forth between using the markers from the actual pen and the brush. And the only reason why I do that is just because I find that the color is a little bit darker when I'm using the actual marker versus the brush. So it really just depends. I'm not a pro at shading, but I try to basically do, you know, the darker colors on the outside, and then sometimes I'll go back in with the brush. And also I find that using the brush kind of helps blend colors together. So that's why I do it that way. And I really do like these watercolor markers. I just feel like since I've used the distressed inks, they blend so perfect. They are great for beginners. I mean, these markers are really great too, and I think they would also be great for a beginner, or they are, because I'm a beginner, I guess. But I don't know, it's just once you use the distressed inks, you'll probably see what I mean. But so I just used my little X-Acto knife to cut out the pieces, and I'll have all the colors listed below. So you can see here I am using my distressed inks for the background, because I couldn't really use the markers for the background. You probably could scribble it on the acrylic block and do kind of the same technique like I'm doing here. Look how fast I'm going, you guys. But yeah, these are just much better in my opinion for a background. And you can't really tell because I had to speed this up pretty quick, but I'm using water in between, and that is a really great way to add dimension to the background. And I kind of made it look like there was clouds. So here I'm just honestly using scraps for my border of the card. I felt like the white was just a little too bold. You'll see on the close-ups where I mean how I kind of added water and made it look like a cloud, or clouds, I guess. And then I had to use a toothpick because I should have put the balloon on there first, but I just kind of put the actual string underneath the little girl there. I just added some foam in between the two layers, and then I'm adding glossy accents to the balloon and the little hearts. And then this is a little tag that I just added to the front. I felt like it kind of completed it. And then I just wrote a little message on the inside, and that completes this card, you guys. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I hope it helped you out if you are experimenting with those watercolor markers. I will talk to you guys later, and thank you so much for all of your support, and especially all of the new subscribers that I have. You guys are wonderful, and I appreciate you so much. So I will talk to you later. Bye.